When you pick up an Apple product, something just feels different. The weight, the finish, the way everything just fits together perfectly. It's more than just good design, it's craftsmanship. But when it comes to their software, the story shifts a little. Apple's default apps are, well, good. They're clean, stable, dependable, but usually only good enough for basic tasks. And more often than not, users end up downloading a third party application for added functionality. For example, Bears in favor of Notes for a more robust note taking system, or Things in favor of Reminders for deeper project planning and management. That makes me wonder, why would Apple build these strong, dependable apps but not go the extra mile with the feature set? Wouldn't it be better for Apple if people were locked into their software? Actually, truth be told, Apple is not interested in that at all. Apple doesn't really care about building the best app in every category, and they are more than happy for you to download third party applications. Let me explain. As successful as the App Store is today, did you know that the original iPhone launched without one? Yeah. When the iPhone debuted in 2007, it was a massive leap forward, multi touch, visual voicemail, full on web browsing, but no App Store. Hard to imagine today, right? A phone with just stock apps. But that's exactly what Steve wanted in the beginning. Tight control over the user experience, no external apps, no unpredictable behavior. It wasn't until the next year with iOS 2.0 that Apple finally opened the door to third party developers. And that changed everything.
The App Store. This is an application we've written to deliver apps to the iPhone. And we're going to put it on every single iPhone with the next release of the software.
The App Store created a whole new world, one where developers could build anything and users could find everything. It was such a game changing move that Apple even turned it into an entire ad campaign. There's an app for that. You must have heard this slogan.
What's great about the iPhone is that if you want to check snow conditions on the mountain, there's an app for that. If you want to check how many calories are in your lunch, there's an app for that.
It became more than a slogan, it defined an era. In contrast, do you remember the Windows Phone? Sleek UI, great hardware, and yet total flop. Why? You already guessed it. No apps. And without a proper developer ecosystem, even the best design hardware becomes just a shell. And that brings us to the big question. Why doesn't Apple just make the best app for everything? If apps are so essential, and clearly Apple has the money, the talent, and the user base, why don't they just build the best photo editor, or the best note taking app, or the best journaling app? They clearly could, right? And being the best in every category would only benefit their brand name, wouldn't it? Well, here's the truth, and it's threefold. Apple competes on hardware, not software. Firstly, Apple doesn't want to dominate every app category. They want to make the tools, but not necessarily what runs on them. Their goal is not to solve every problem. Their goal is to build the platform and then let the users decide how they choose to solve their particular problems. They focus on building incredible hardware that is capable of running great software seamlessly. The iPhone isn't amazing because Apple makes every app on it. It's amazing because it empowers others to build great apps. Apple instead focuses on maintaining a high quality standard for these applications in the App Store. Instead of competing in the app market, Apple focuses on owning the entire marketplace and making sure they are held to the highest standard in terms of quality of software, privacy, and security. This gives iPhone users the peace of mind, knowing that they can happily look for solutions in the App Store without worrying about any potential scam. On to the next point. Apple can't and shouldn't make the best app for every niche. Let's be real for a second. Even if Apple wanted to dominate every app category, they just couldn't. There are over a billion people who use iPhones, and even with all their resources, Apple simply could not be the best at everything. They can't build the perfect DJ app, the ultimate journaling tool, or the best comic reader. They could try, but it would be an immense waste of their time, money, and resources. What they do instead is smart. They make solid default apps like Photos, Notes, Mail, Safari. These apps work for 80% of the people 80% of the time. And that's a great space to be in. They're able to fulfill the needs of majority of the customers most of the times. So when you buy a new iPhone, you aren't immediately compelled to download a new application just for basic functionality. For everyone else, the pros, the hobbyists, The power users like you and I, Apple leaves the doors to the App Store wide open. That is where the magic happens. That's where users discover apps that are perfectly tailored to their unique needs. And developers can make a living or even a fortune at times solving these exact problems. So it's a win win. And finally, for the last one, Apple makes more money letting others win. From a simple business POV, Apple makes more money when others succeed. Every app you buy, every subscription you sign up for, every in app purchase you make, every breath you take. Basically, Apple takes a cut up to 30% in many of those cases. So, if Apple tried to dominate every app category, why would developers invest their time and money to stay on that platform? The more Apple builds, the less developers would want to invest in that platform. And that would weaken the App Store and the whole ecosystem as a result. So, instead of trying to dominate every app category, Apple stays strategic. They cover the basic stuff and then they let the developers innovate at the edges. This way, Apple benefits from both a vibrant ecosystem and the revenue that comes from it. Simply put, Apple makes more money letting others win. In many ways, Apple's greatest strength is knowing when not to overreach. They make beautiful hardware, they create clean, functional default apps, and then they step aside. They let the App Store evolve, they let developers innovate, and they let users choose how to solve their individual problems. That is why Apple still leads. Not just because of what they build, but because of what they enable others to build. If you found this interesting, hit like and drop a comment. Which Apple stock app did you actually prefer over a third party one? For me, it's Safari. Maybe I'll make a video on my Safari setup and extensions. Until then, thank you for watching and I will see you guys in the next one.